Breaking news. Chaos has erupted inside Bravo Nation tonight, and the footage you're about to hear is unlike anything reality TV has ever survived. Viewers thought last week's episode was dramatic, but no one imagined the truth was darker, bloodier, and far more personal. Because this time, it wasn't shade, it wasn't reunion drama, and it wasn't a storyline crafted in a writer's room. This was violence. Late last night, emergency sirens surrounded the Bravo studio as officers confirmed what fans had been whispering in terror. Wendy Osefo wasn't just injured, she was nearly killed. The attacker? A woman she once called a colleague, Gizelle Bryant, now officially under arrest, handcuffed, silent, and accused of a crime that has shaken the entire entertainment industry. Inside the studio, the floor was still stained with Wendy's blood. Chairs overturned, equipment shattered, crew members crying. Nothing about this scene was scripted. It was the kind of horror producers never wanted the world to see. But the world saw it anyway. Doctors reveal Wendy suffered severe head trauma, 2 fractures, and memory lapses. Her mother collapsed outside the ICU, screaming, "She only told the truth. Why did they do this?" Fans worldwide are furious. Hashtags demanding justice exploded in minutes. And when officers raided Bravo headquarters, what they found was even more terrifying. Hidden logs, secret warnings, private notes proving that Gizelle's rage wasn't on-camera emotion. It was premeditated jealousy, a slow-burning obsession targeting Wendy for months. Tonight, Bravo is silent. Lawyers are scrambling, and the question haunting millions is simple. How far was Gizelle willing to go? And who else at Bravo helped push her there? The night didn't begin with chaos. It began with a trembling light. A single spotlight flickered above the Bravo set, casting long, nervous shadows across the floor, where makeup brushes, cue cards, and half-empty water bottles sat waiting for another routine taping. No one imagined that within minutes, those same floors would be drenched in panic, screams, and the blood of a woman who came to work expecting nothing more violent than an argument. But the truth has a cruel way of revealing itself. Crew members later said they felt something in the air, a heaviness that clung to the room like smoke. Wendy Osefo arrived early, her folder of notes in hand, smiling softly at the stylists who greeted her. She looked tired, but composed. The kind of calm a person wears after surviving too many seasons of on-camera attacks. Gizelle Bryant, in contrast, walked in late. Not fashionably late, not Bravo Queen late, but late in a way that made people shift in discomfort. Her jaw was tense. Her eyes were hollow. And according to one makeup artist, she muttered the same sentence twice under her breath. She thinks she's untouchable. The recording was supposed to be simple. A sit-down segment, a soft confrontation, something Bravo could slap onto mid-season episodes to ignite the usual online debates. Producers whispered, assistants rushed around, mic techs clipped transmitters to dresses. Everything looked like a normal shooting day. But nothing about Gizelle was normal that night. A camera caught her gripping her coffee cup so hard that her knuckles shook. Another caught her staring at Wendy with a hatred so sharp it practically sliced through the air. When the director yelled, "Rolling," everyone exhaled, expecting the usual: sarcasm, petty shade, maybe a raised voice. What they got instead was a nightmare. Wendy began speaking first. Her tone was soft, professional, measured. The kind of tone she'd perfected after years of dealing with manufactured drama. But before she could complete her first sentence, Gizelle leaned forward, eyes locked on her like a predator tracking its prey. "Don't pretend," she hissed. A line that wasn't in any script, any outline, any producer notes. Wendy blinked, confused. "Pretend what, Gizelle?" The room fell silent. Cameramen stopped breathing. Assistants froze mid-step. Even the audience extras, paid to clap and gasp, looked genuinely alarmed. Then Gizelle stood. Not dramatically, not theatrically, but slowly, deliberately, as if every movement had been rehearsed in her mind for weeks. "You ruined me," she said. No one knows if she meant reputation, storyline, ego, or something darker, but what happened next will haunt Bravo for years. She lifted the heavy ceramic mug in her hand. A beat of silence, a single breath. Then, impact. The mug flew across the table and shattered against Wendy's temple with a crack so loud it echoed off the studio walls. The cameras shook, crew members screamed, and Wendy collapsed backward, her chair tipping over as she hit the floor with a sickening thud. Blood spread in a thin red halo around her head. A producer shouted, "Cut the cameras!" Another grabbed a walkie-talkie, screaming for medical staff. A mic tech dropped to his knees beside Wendy, yelling her name, tapping her cheek, begging her to wake up. But she didn't move. For a moment, the studio was nothing but chaos. People running, people crying, people staring in frozen horror. Then, someone realized Gizelle hadn't moved. She stood there, breathing heavily, staring at the blood on her hands like she wasn't sure whether to be proud or horrified. Security rushed in late, too late, and dragged her away from the scene as she shouted, "She deserved it! She always thought she was better!" Minutes later, paramedics arrived. The EMT report would later say Wendy sustained blunt force trauma to the skull, a concussion so severe she lost consciousness for 8 minutes, and internal swelling that required emergency medical intervention. Cameras caught Eddie Osifo sprinting down the hallway of the hospital, his hand trembling as he tried to dial family members. Meanwhile, Bravo scrambled. Their PR team sent emails faster than producers could delete evidence. They wanted one narrative pushed. It was an accident. But police officers weren't buying it. One detective stated publicly, "This didn't look like an accident. This looked intentional." And with that single sentence, everything collapsed. Within hours, the clip, the raw, unedited clip that Bravo allegedly tried to bury, leaked online. Millions watched in horror as Gizelle's attack replayed frame by frame. TikTok slowed it down, analyzed her grip, compared her stance to previous scenes, even circled the moment her expression changed from anger to something almost feral. Hashtags exploded. Justice for Wendy. Arrest Gizelle. Bravo, blood. Reality TV. Gone too far. But the most disturbing moment surfaced not from the main cameras, but from a hidden corner security cam. Bravo never thought would see daylight. The footage showed Gizelle outside Wendy's dressing room 10 minutes before the attack. She paced back and forth, whispering to herself, clutching her mug like a weapon. She paused only once, when she muttered the sentence that would break the internet. "I'll show her who really runs this show." Police labeled this footage clear premeditation. That's when officers raided Bravo headquarters. They seized hard drives, notes, emails, private texts between producers. What they found was worse than anyone expected. Logs describing Gizelle as emotionally volatile, warnings that she had fixated on Wendy, and internal messages advising staff to avoid triggering her on set. But the most damning detail came from a single sticky note photographed by investigators. "Her jealousy is escalating. Keep cameras ready. Could be good for mid-season." That sentence alone shifted the public from outrage to fury. Wendy remained unconscious as doctors prepped her for a second surgery. Her mother stood outside the ICU, crying so loudly, nurses had to close the hallway doors. Eddie released a statement no husband should ever have to say. "She told me 2 days ago she didn't feel safe around Gizelle. We failed her. Bravo failed her. And now we may lose her." When police arrived at Gizelle's house to arrest her, she didn't resist. She simply opened the door, hands shaking, and whispered one sentence that reporters recorded through the chaos. "She got in my way." Those 4 words destroyed whatever sympathy anyone had left. The arrest was broadcast across networks. Fans around the world watched Gizelle being led into a police van, handcuffed, mascara streaked, her once glamorous persona replaced by a woman consumed by rage and insecurity. Meanwhile, the investigation continued unfolding like a scandalous thriller. Digital analysts found a hidden notes file on Gizelle's phone. It included lines like, "She humiliates me every season. I'll change the narrative myself if they won't. She needs to be put in her place." Police called the file deeply concerning. Fans called it a confession. As Wendy lay unconscious, a world that once treated the Real Housewives franchise as entertainment suddenly saw it as something darker. A machine that thrived on emotional destruction and, finally, physical violence. And this was only the beginning. The hours after Gizelle's arrest felt like an earthquake ripping through the Bravo universe. Every minute delivered a new shock. Every second brought a new leak. What started as a studio meltdown had spiraled into a national scandal, one that no producer, no PR team, no lawyer could contain. Outside Wendy's hospital, cameras crowded the entrance, forming a wall of flashing lights. Reporters shouted updates, influencers live-streamed theories, and fans stood holding candles and handmade posters saying, "Protect Wendy, reality TV isn't worth blood, and no more Bravo lies." It was no longer entertainment. It was grief. Inside the ICU, the tension was suffocating. Wendy's heart monitor beeped steadily, but the doctors warned that stability didn't equal safety. She drifted in and out of semi-consciousness, whispering fragments of sentences that made nurses exchange worried looks. "She followed me. Don't let her. Not again." Her voice trembled every time. The trauma wasn't just physical, it had sunk into her bones. Doctors advised Eddie not to show her the news, but he already knew Wendy had seen the attack replaying in her mind. His hands shook as he sat beside her bed, wiping blood from the corner of her hairline, silently praying that the woman he married, so strong, so brilliant, would wake up without permanent damage. Meanwhile, across the city, the police interrogation room echoed with an eerie stillness. Gizelle sat chained to the metal chair, staring at the table as if trying to piece together the ruins of her own life. But her silence wasn't guilt. It was defiance. When detectives questioned her, she refused to deny anything. "I did what I had to," she muttered once, her voice flat, emotionless. When asked if she regretted it, she looked straight ahead and whispered, "She pushed me too far." Her lack of remorse shocked even the officers. But the real storm wasn't inside that room. It was erupting online. Digital investigators found evidence hidden deep within Bravo's cloud storage. Files labeled high-tension moments, cast trigger points, and worst of all, escalation strategy. The revelations sent shockwaves across social media. These files weren't scripts. They were psychological profiles. Notes on what angered each cast member, what broke them, what could trigger a meltdown that would elevate ratings. And Wendy's file was the longest, marked in bold red text. She reacts strongly when integrity questioned. Use carefully. Gizelle's file had something far more disturbing. Increased volatility, emotional instability rising, monitor closely. Yet monitoring wasn't what Bravo did. They pushed both women harder. Leaked emails showed producers suggesting intense confrontations, timing arguments right before cameras rolled, feeding cast members partial information to heighten tension. It wasn't a reality show anymore. It was a psychological experiment staged for profit. Then came the moment that shattered whatever was left of Bravo's image. A former production assistant released a secret audio clip recorded 3 days before the attack. In it, a producer laughs while saying, "If Gizelle snaps, it'll give us our highest ratings ever." The internet erupted. People demanded the network be shut down. Media outlets reported non-stop. The hashtag #BravoBloodMoney trended for 48 consecutive hours. And just when the world thought the scandal had peaked, another leak surfaced. This time from inside the Bravo legal department. An internal memo titled, "Damage Control If Osefo Doesn't Survive." Fans and journalists were horrified. The memo listed potential PR strategies, including statements to shift blame, emergency edits to upcoming episodes, and instructions for hiding specific files. The memo didn't treat Wendy as a victim. It treated her as a liability. The public couldn't process the coldness. Meanwhile, inside the hospital, Wendy's condition took a terrifying turn. Her oxygen levels dipped. Her heart rate spiked. Nurses rushed into the room, pushing Eddie back as they tried to stabilize her. Alarms blared, echoing down the hallway. A doctor shouted orders, and for a moment, it felt like the world stopped breathing. When the doors reopened, the doctor's face was grave. "She's fighting," he said, "but she needs time. Trauma like this leaves shadows." Eddie nearly collapsed as he whispered, "Just save her. Please." Across town, at the same moment Wendy fought for strength, something chilling happened in Gizelle's holding cell. She asked for her phone, not to call her family, not to contact a lawyer, but to check the trending hashtags about her. When denied, she smirked and said, "I already know what they're saying. They always talk about me." There was no fear in her voice, no regret, only ego wrapped in delusion. The next leak hit like dynamite. A technician from the studio surveillance office revealed footage from a backstage hallway minutes before the attack. In the video, Gizelle cornered a producer, jabbing her finger into his chest while hissing, "I don't care what storyline you planned. I'll make my own moment tonight." She walked away holding the same ceramic mug she used as a weapon. This wasn't Bravo manipulating her. This wasn't producers pushing her too far. This was Gizelle choosing violence. Detectives confirmed the attack was intentional, personal, and premeditated. But the question remained. Why? Then came the answer, through a shocking interview given anonymously by a close friend of Gizelle's. She claimed Gizelle had become obsessed with beating Wendy, that she felt overshadowed, threatened, and afraid of being edited out of Bravo's future. "She kept saying Wendy was stealing her spotlight," the friend whispered. It consumed her. The confession painted a picture darker than anyone anticipated, but the investigation didn't stop there. Police found dozens of voice memos in Gizelle's phone, angry rants recorded at 2 a.m., talking about Wendy's arrogance, her degrees, her storyline dominance, and repeating the same sentence over and over. "She thinks she's above me." Fans were horrified. Psychologists analyzing her behavior called it identity fracturing. Commentators called it ego losing a war with reality. Meanwhile, Eddie received clearance to visit Wendy alone. He sat beside her, holding her hand, whispering stories of their kids, promising her she wasn't alone. A tear slipped down Wendy's cheek, though her eyes stayed closed. It was enough to break any heart. News anchors described the situation as the darkest moment in Bravo history. Thousands demanded the network be shut down permanently. Parents wrote open letters saying their children watched Bravo and were traumatized. Bravo tried to issue statements, but every attempt backfired. Their words sounded like excuses, not accountability. The world wasn't listening anymore. They were watching, waiting, studying every detail of the ongoing investigation like a true crime series unfolding in real time. The final blow in Part 2 came when the police chief held a press conference. Cameras clicked rapidly as he stepped up to the podium, cleared his throat, and delivered a sentence that turned the internet into wildfire. "We have reason to believe Wendy Osefo was targeted long before the cameras rolled." Gasps echoed through the room. He continued, "This was not a moment of anger. This was a plan." And with those words, everything changed. The sun had barely risen when the world woke up to a headline that shattered whatever was left of Bravo's reputation. FBI expands investigation. Multiple cast members warned of impending violence before attack. That single headline sent shockwaves across the entertainment industry. Viewers who once laughed at the petty drama now stared at their screens with horror. For the first time in reality TV history, the storyline wasn't entertainment, it was evidence. Meanwhile, inside the hospital, the atmosphere felt more like a war zone than a medical ward. Journalists camped outside, fans prayed on sidewalks, security patrolled the hallways after threats surfaced online demanding justice for Wendy. The world was spiraling, and every hour added another layer of darkness. Wendy's condition remained fragile. Doctors said her brain swelling had reduced slightly, but she wasn't waking. Her room was silent, except for the rhythmic hum of machines keeping her stable. Eddie kept replaying her voice notes, the ones she had recorded hours before heading to the studio. In one of them, she mentioned feeling strange energy around Gizelle. In another, she said, "If something happens tonight, it won't be by accident." Those words hit Eddie like a blade every time. On the other side of the city, Gizelle was transferred from a holding cell to a high-security psychiatric observation room. Officers said she hadn't slept since the attack. She sat upright, staring at the wall, murmuring to herself. When a detective asked if she wanted to make a statement, she replied with a chilling smile, "You'll see the truth soon." No remorse, no sorrow, just an unsettling calm that made officers uneasy. But the real twist came when a digital forensic team uncovered a hidden folder on Bravo servers titled Nightfall Files. The folder wasn't accessible through normal channels. It had a layered encryption, as if someone desperately wanted to hide it. When the FBI decrypted it, the contents stunned even seasoned investigators. Inside were unreleased camera angles, backstage audio files, confidential cast evaluations, emergency protocols for on-set violence, producer memos discussing risk management footage, a document titled Escalation Potential, Bryant vs. Osefo. This wasn't just a file, it was a blueprint for disaster. One file in particular broke the internet once it leaked. A producer's voice could be heard whispering into a headset before cameras rolled that night. "If they fight, let them. This is the moment we've been waiting for." The voice wasn't shocked. It wasn't panicked. It was excited. When fans heard it, they exploded with rage. Hashtags demanding the cancellation of the entire franchise trended. Advertisers pulled out. Networks distanced themselves. Bravo's stock plummeted overnight. But things were about to get even darker. A former cameraman stepped forward anonymously, claiming he had witnessed a private conversation between Gizelle and a senior producer weeks before the attack. According to him, the producer told her, "Wendy's taking too much screen power. Push back. Make yourself the center." He didn't tell her to hurt Wendy, but he lit a fuse that was already dangerously close to gasoline. The cameraman said. Gizelle replied, "I'll make them talk about me. You'll see." The implications were devastating. Bravo wasn't the only villain. Gizelle wasn't the only one responsible. It was a deadly cocktail of ego, manipulation, and emotional instability, mixed and served without caution. By the end of week 3, the case took another horrifying turn. A nurse reported hearing Wendy whisper in her sleep, "She was in my room. She was standing over me." Security footage confirmed there had been an attempted intrusion on the hospital's restricted floor. A hooded woman was caught wandering near Wendy's room at 3:27 a.m. before slipping out of frame. The footage was grainy. The figure was unidentifiable. But the body shape, the posture, the stride, social media believed it was Gizelle's daughter. Some believed it was a Bravo employee. Others thought it was a fan seeking attention. The hospital increased security and refused to comment. Eddie nearly lost his mind with fear. While the world obsessed over conspiracies, one final leak broke everything wide open. A 12-second video recovered from a damaged SD card. It showed Gizelle in her dressing room, minutes before the attack, staring into the mirror with tears streaming down her face. She whispered, "They want a villain. Fine, I'll be the villain." Then she picked up the mug. The clip went viral instantly. Some viewers felt a shred of pity, most felt even angrier. But one thing was clear, Gizelle wasn't pushed. She allowed herself to be weaponized, and Wendy paid the price. The final blow in this saga came during a press conference held by the police chief. Reporters braced themselves for updates, but nobody expected what he said next. "We have reason to believe," the chief announced, "that a third party manipulated both women for months. This attack may be part of a larger pattern of emotional exploitation within the network." Gasps drowned the room. He continued, This was not one woman attacking another. This was two women pushed to the edge by a machine that profits from pain. The world froze. Producers were questioned. Executives lawyered up. Bravo's headquarters was raided a second time. One investigator leaked a statement anonymously. What we found goes beyond television. This is a corporate crime scene. Inside the hospital, Wendy finally stirred. Her fingers twitched. Her eyes fluttered open for a few seconds. Eddie broke down crying, but the joy was short-lived. She whispered one sentence before slipping back into unconsciousness. "Tell them it wasn't just her." Those words went viral instantly. Everyone wanted to know who else was involved. By now, Bravo's empire was collapsing. Shows were suspended. Executives vanished. A whistleblower hotline was opened. Former cast members began posting cryptic messages online, hinting that they too had been manipulated, triggered, and pushed into breakdowns for ratings. An FBI agent leaked a document confirming the existence of a missing tape, one that had not been released, not leaked, not found in the raids. The tape was labeled Bryant Incident, Full Master. It contained everything. Every camera angle, every whispered order, every off-mic provocation, every second leading up to Wendy's collapse. But the tape was missing, not stolen, not deleted, moved. Someone inside Bravo had hidden it before police arrived. The final line of the leaked document sent chills worldwide. Identify the person who removed the master file. They are the key to everything. The world realized one terrifying truth. This wasn't the end. It was the opening of a deeper, darker chapter. And somewhere, in a vault, a laptop, a private server, the full truth was waiting to explode. If you've made it this far, then you already know this isn't tea, this isn't gossip, and it damn sure isn't reality TV. This is trauma. This is betrayal. This is a woman fighting for her life while another sits in a cell, convinced she's the victim of her own downfall. And somewhere in between them, a billion-dollar network is scrambling to bury the truth before the world sees just how deep this darkness really goes. But you saw it, you felt it, and now you're part of the story too. Because the missing master tape is still out there. Someone inside Bravo moved it. Someone knows exactly what happened before the attack. Someone is still hiding in the shadows, protecting themselves, not Wendy, not justice, not the truth. So here's what you need to do. Share this video. Comment your thoughts. Demand accountability. Because if we stay silent, they win. If we stop asking questions, the footage disappears forever. And if Wendy's voice is erased, then every scream that night was for nothing. Don't let them bury this. Don't let them rewrite the story. Stay loud. Stay watching. Because the next leak could change everything.